Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. If this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, the constituent, to know the truth. But remember, fam, we will not be silenced. If you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms. You can subscribe to both Frankie Olivo page on Facebook, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously, rain or shine, no matter if our Facebook page goes dark. So make sure you subscribe to our Frankie Olivo TV page on YouTube to tune in. We will not be silenced. To my community, I will never, ever ask you for money. I will never, ever ask you for food. Well, depends what you're making. All I ask of you is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all I ask, my community. And always remember, Brownsville, I am always forever thankful and indebted to each and every one of you for giving me your time and your attention. Thank you so much for being here. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy, what is it? Is it Thursday? What day is it? It's Thursday, man. Oh, this week has flown by. Again, I'm always thankful that I have a job, that I have an opportunity to serve my community in different capacities. So being busy is a good thing, at least for me. Yesterday we were all startled, Patricia Hernandez. Yesterday we were all startled by an explosion. Individuals, residents from San Benito, Los Fresnos, stated that they felt the power of the rocket. And it's scary. You have environmentalists that are saying, "I told you so." Elon Musk has this idea of Boca Chica to Mars, that in the next 20, 40 years, that humans will be able to colonize Mars. There's a lot of need here on planet Earth. Do we really need to go to Mars? Again, space exploration is something that is the new wave. We have Amazon, Blue Origin. Honda is also getting into space flights or launching rockets. So this is going to be the new norm. What can we say about our local environment? It's gone, if it hasn't already. If you drive on Highway 48 from Brownsville to Port Isabel, South Padre Island, it's nasty. All you see is LNG. And on the far distance, you see SpaceX. Our local habitat, our species, our local species, they're gone. They're affected by it. We need to do a better job of making sure that these things don't happen. But they're rockets. Is there going to be more explosions? Yes. Is something going to happen with LNG? Possibly. So that's something to monitor. It was something that Ms. Montalongo, good morning. I hope you or your loved one recuperate fast and are home in Brownsville very, very soon. But again, residents in Los Fresnos and San Benito did feel the shake. But again, I think we could all agree that big money, multi-million dollars, was preferred over the constituents, the people, the residents having access to our local beaches. So that is something that will be plaguing our area for the near future. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we we'll focus on diving a bit deeper into this whole private property pothole repavement um, issue. Yesterday, we talked about questions that many business owners had. You know, hey, are we allowing for every business owner to use city resources? What agreement was made? Not a lot of information. No transparency was given by our commissioners. All they said was, "Look, we did this. Woo!" Um, so today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be asking the question. And again, we always have receipts. Don't think that Good Morning Brownsville just throws things just to throw. Our job, my job, is to start a discussion within my community. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about if charges should be filed against commissioners Linda Macias and Pedrito Cardenas for paving a street on private property using city resources. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start today's show. Stick around, Brownsville. It's gonna get very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time and your attention.
The former judge of Cameron County was just released from the Cameron County Detention Center. Pete Sepulveda turned himself in earlier today after a warrant was issued for his arrest. CBS 4's Annalise Ortiz joins us live in our studio right now. And Annalise, what are the charges?
Well, Eddie, former Cameron County Judge Pete Sepulveda was indicted on 3 charges: abuse of official capacity, misapplication of fiduciary property, and theft by a public servant. According to the Cameron County District Attorney's Office, the charges stem from a months-long investigation. In March of 2016, the DA's office received a complaint that county workers paved a private road. So they opened an investigation, and what they found was just presented to a grand jury last month. The grand jury returned sealed indictments charging Sepulveda. Again, he has been released from the jail. It is unclear right now when he will be arraigned. Now, we talked to him on the phone earlier, and he referred comment to his attorney. His attorney did not return our calls. Live in the studio, Annalise Ortiz, CBS 4 News and ValleyCentral.com.
Before we start with today's show, I have received a lot of flack lately. Individuals have been reaching out to me and saying, "What are you doing? You're annoying. First, you complain that politicians do something wrong, and then when they do something right, you still complain. Man, get over it. This is nonsense." Again, we applaud and we expect our local leaders to fix our problems, because at the end of the day, that's what they signed up for. I, in no way, shape, or form, am using this mic to target those individuals. My job is to ask the important questions, to bring up issues that nobody wants to talk about. And we hope we convey that message to you, that this program is designed in a way to have a discussion. My job, again, is to present you the good, the bad, and the ugly, the black and the white. Stay away from the gray area. My job isn't to convince you, ladies and gentlemen. My job is to present you the information. What you do with the information, that's totally up to you. Yesterday, just very quickly, I know my I know my team is probably saying, "Oh God, he's going to repeat himself again." But just a quick run through from yesterday's program. Yesterday, we talked about how a street on private property was a hazard to the community, and this road in question, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't something that that happened from one day to the next. No, this is something that throughout the years it was never addressed. And many people stated, "Well, why isn't something being done?" What happens whenever we have Sam? Sam brought up an interesting point. Isn't this an issue where if you have your grass too high, the city will come and find you? And he makes a valid argument. This hole, ladies and gentlemen, that we have here in between Academy and McDonald's was a problem to the citizens of Brownsville. Imagine the tires, the effect it had on vehicles' body, on suspensions, on shocks, on brake pads, all the damage it caused. Why? Because it was never addressed. I can report to you with confidence that this hole has been there for at least 2 years. My production team is saying that they remember it going back even further. Now, again, we can only report what we know because I'm only good as my facts. And the only thing that I can prove and come up with is that this hole in question has been around for at least 2 years. And what did we see? We saw District 4 candidate, Daisy Zamora. She actually sat down. If you don't believe me, go to her page, Daisy Zamora for precinct for District 4. She sat down in that hole and said, look at this crater. Why isn't it being fixed? And many people have asked that question. Why didn't Pedrito Cardenas fix that? Someone on the comments on yesterday's show, if you don't believe me, go back to yesterday's episode, stated nothing was done by the commissioner. Why? Was he afraid of Daisy taking credit for it? And again, the issue is that this is on private property. So we have a case where, and Commissioner Roy de los Santos gave us a bit of history in regards to this property in question. He stated that back in 2002, the owners of that area, of those plazas, asked for the city of Brownsville to abandon that particular street. That street belonged to Old Highway 77, which is now getting a makeover of $13 million, which is affecting many business owners. But there is no doubt that this location in question is private property. But we were alarmed to find another property that Commissioner Linda Macias fixed. And again, very quickly, I want to show y'all yesterday's program in a quick minute.
Commissioner Macias. I'm Commissioner Cardenas. And we're here in District 4. I just wanted to report out that we're in the pothole where McDonald's and Academy's at, and we're getting it done.
So let's remember, this is private property, but there was a way for us to get it done through contacting owners and looking at some easements, and we're able to get it done. So just remember, when we're together, we can get everything done. Thank you.
So when you drive out here, just know it's going to be safe. Have a great one. Happy Friday to everybody. Hello, and happy Friday to everybody. I am here on the Chick-fil-A on 802. Hello, and happy Friday to everybody. I am here on the Chick-fil-A on 802. This is the one that's adjacent to Coffeeport Road. And I just want to report out real quick that the pothole, aka tire shredder, has been filled up. So it is officially now safe to come out here. And so as a representative, I'm very happy to report out. Biggest shout out to the city and to the developer who went ahead and filled it up as soon as possible. So thank you. Hello, and happy Friday to everybody. I am here.
So again, yesterday we spoke about two areas in question. One on 802 between what used to be Mr. Gaddy's and Chick-fil-A. That street was causing tires, shocks, vehicles to be affected. Also, Academy and McDonald's on Morrison Road. Those two areas, we highlighted them because we saw how the city of Brownsville used resources, manpower, to fix these issues. Now, again, I know what you're saying. Pues you complain when they do nothing, and then when they do something, you complain. ¿Quién te entiende, hombre? Again, our job is to hold elected leaders accountable. Why? Because elected leaders are on a higher pedestal than we are. And no information has been provided to us that let us know exactly what arrangements were made between the owners on private property and the city of Brownsville. We don't know what arrangement was made. We asked the question, was code enforcement sent out? Was a fine issued? And if not, why not? Many business owners reached out to me and said, hey, you better talk about this because I have a property. I have a business on private property that needs that has issues that needs to be addressed. So the issue that we talked about yesterday was city resources being used, was manpower being used to fix private property? The answer is yes, 1000%. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about a story very, very similar to what just happened. Mr. Pete Sepulveda. Mr. Pete Sepulveda currently right now is the county administrator, and he has been for the longest time. He even serves as the executive director. I'm not sure if he still does, but he did at one point for the Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority. So this man has a lot of power within the county. He is like the chief of staff for our city commission. He gets paid handsomely. And in the video we showed, the way we started our show was that Pete Sepulveda used county resources, county manpower to pave a road, a road on private property. So we have a county administrator who at the time, and again, this is a bit confusing, but please have patience with me. At the time, Pete Sepulveda was appointed as a county judge back in March of 2015. That was when Carlos Cascos resigned as county judge because he became the Texas Secretary of State. Sepulveda was let's say an interim county judge because from March to November, he filled the role as county judge. And then our current judge, Judge Eddie Trevino, was elected and he took the oath of office. So we have a case that is very similar to what happened this past few weeks with the city of Brownsville. And again, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, let it go. You're annoying. No, ladies and gentlemen, we need to ask these tough questions. Why? Because we have somebody in question that faced something very similar. When he was a Cameron County judge, he was arrested for abuse, for theft of official capacity, misapplication of fiduciary property, and theft by a public servant. Now, again, this goes back to 2016. You're probably saying, oh, man, that happened 10 years ago. But again, we have a very similar case. According to the Cameron County District Attorney's Office, the arrest stems from an investigation that happened back in March of 2016. The District Attorney's Office, they received a complaint alleging that county workers have paved a particular road where? On private property. And this property in question, ladies and gentlemen, was a property, I want to say, between San Benito and Harlingen, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. It has been a while. And this wasn't in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. No. I believe his indictment read that he stole, according to the indictment, he stole between $2,500 up to $30,000. So it wasn't in the hundreds of thousands that he stole. And oh my goodness. No. But nonetheless, he was charged with a crime. Why? Because he used county resources. People complained and they said, hey, why is the county fixing roads on private property? I have a road on private property. Can you send the county employees out here? Now, the district attorney's office, the public integrity unit, they accused Sepulveda of using county materials and employees to pave a private property when he was the county judge. You see where I'm going at? Again, we're thankful. We're thankful that our commissioners are doing something. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to do nothing. Commissioner like Pedrito Cardenas, who hasn't done anything in Precinct 4. He was called out by a resident that said, hey, thank you, Linda Macias, for doing something. Unlike our District 4 commissioner who doesn't even live there. I didn't say it. Look at yesterday's show. Someone called out Pedrito Cardenas for not doing anything in regards to that issue. Many people said, hey, well, maybe Linda Macias is what's needed to get the job done. And again, I know what you're saying. Ay, ¿quién te entiende? First you get mad when they don't do nothing, and then when they do something, you make a stink of it. No. I'm gonna unfollow you. That's what somebody told me yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, my role isn't to make friends. It seems as if whenever whenever we discuss an issue regarding a certain commissioner, whenever I talked about Gustavo de Leon and Pedro Cardenas, people who were all about corruption. Oh, corruption. And I said, well, look what they did. They strong-armed the city manager's office. Gustavo de Leon has no more than 2 weeks that he was sworn in, and he's already committing a crime, nepotism. People called me out for it. Oh, no, you're lying. Why didn't you ask him if he was at the city manager's office last week? Well, at the time, it was last week. No, you're a liar. Ask him if him and Pedrito Cardenas asked the city manager's office to get Carlos Elizondo a job with the city. That's called nepotism. That is against the law. I'm not here to make friends, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not here to talk about the birds and the bees and kumbaya. Yes. Brownsville was great. It's beautiful. My job is to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't you want to know? Don't you want to know what's going on behind closed doors? That's why this program is very unique, because we talk about the deals that goes on behind closed doors, the quid pro quos. Remember that diagram where I showed Pedrito Cardenas, Gustavo de Leon, Roy de los Santos, and how they were scheming and making deals? I was called a liar, that I didn't know what I was talking about, that I was crazy. And time has been on our side. We said that Martin Sarkis was going to be appointed. No, I didn't say that they were related. If they're related, I don't know. I didn't say that. But they schemed. We talked about how Martin Sarkis was going to get appointed by PUB, and he was going to get appointed by the BISD board. Well, guess what we have? We have receipts, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll be talking about tomorrow. So BISD, tune in, because it's going to get juicy. Again, everything that we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, we have facts. My job isn't to throw people under the bus. People say, oh, you're defaming people. No, they're corrupt. So again, my job isn't to make friends. My job isn't to sing kumbaya. My job is to give you the insights into what is going on. Don't you want that? or friends, not just relatives, friends. Whenever you strong arm somebody, it could be a relative, it could be a friend, for a gain, not necessarily relatives, but that's nepotism. So don't you want that? Don't you want to know what happens behind closed doors? Yesterday we've been talking about Roca, the nonprofit organization, who the concept is great. It's a great concept. They help out. Underprivileged kids, and they provide resources for them. That's great. But Hilda, Sam, Roger, the Escandons, there's a lot of red flags, which my community has been allowing me to. So don't you want to know what happens behind closed doors? That is what Good Morning Browns is all about. This program isn't for the politicos. The politicos know what's going on, but the city of Brownsville doesn't know. And this is what this mic is for. This mic is to let you know what's going on behind closed doors. Things that the politicos do not want you to know. That is my job, to let you know secrets. Wouldn't you like to know? So again, before people start blasting me and saying, oh, you're just angry and oh, you're just attacking people and oh. No, we want our elected officials to do the right thing. And we ask the question, did they do the right thing? They paved a street on private property. They paved the street on private property using county resources, manpower, city money. Again, couldn't we use these individuals somewhere else? Why are we focusing on private property? Again, I understand, people, this area was a nuisance, was a hazard, is a danger to people. I understand that. But why aren't we putting pressure on the business owners? Is it because they have lots of money that we don't want to mess with them? You know, if it was you or I, I'll speak for myself. You know, if it was I, que soy un pobretón con 2 pesos, 2 centavos en la bolsa, nos fueran fregado. Si el zacate mío está largo, me fueran. They would have fined me quick. Why did it take 2 years, 4 years for this issue to get resolved? Why? Again, we're thankful that the commissioners are doing something about it. We are thankful for that. But what arrangements were made, ladies and gentlemen, with the owners? Are they going to pick up the bill? Taxpayer money always gets wasted to the convenience of people. Why? To gain money from it. Now, I'm not saying, just for the record, I'm not saying that a quid pro quo was done here. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that there's been precedents already with our county judge, interim county judge, that was arrested for doing something very, very similar to what Commissioners Linda Macias and Pedrito Cardenas did on that private road on Morrison Street. Now, what happened to the case? You may ask. It was ultimately dismissed. Why was it dismissed? Because Pete Sepulveda admitted guilt. He said, yes, I did this. I was wrong. He entered into a pretrial diversion program. And I know that program very well. The pretrial diversion program is given to individuals who have a clean record, who did a nonviolent crime, first-time offender. They allow those individuals to get into a probationary status, that they have to meet certain requirements. And once those requirements are met, they can go before the judge. They can get their case dismissed and their case expunged. I'm familiar with that. So Pete Sepulveda admitted guilt. He said, yes, I did this. I used county resources. I used county property to pave a private road. You don't believe me, do you? This happened. This is real. I'm not making this up. People were saying, why are you talking about paving the road? Yeah, let it go. Do you want your tax dollars to be spent on private property when people with big bucks could do it, but they don't want to because, no quiero. I'll have the city do it. Good thing you asked, Tony. Let me see if I can bring it up to you 1 second. I had it right now. Commissioner Roy de los Santos did bring us a little bit more information. Give me 2 minutes, Tony. I'm going to find it for you. Look, give me 2 minutes. We talked about it yesterday of how this road in particular, the Morrison Road, was paved with private funds. I found it. Give me 1 second. I have it right here. Ching. There it is. Okay, Tony. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring it up real quick. You want me to, and you're absolutely right. I need to show you facts. I need to show you. I encourage you to watch yesterday's program, Tony, but I'll give you a little bit of insight. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the private road, Sepulveda. I don't know. It was a private property in between San Benito and Harlingen. I don't know the owner, so to speak. Oh, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. So again, precedence has been set. We have a county judge that was indicted, arrested, who ultimately pled guilty, because that's what you do whenever you enter into a pre-trial diversion program. Trust me, I know. The pre-trial diversion program, you have to admit guilt. This is given to non-violent offenders, first-time offense. Perhaps a commissioner? If you could elaborate on that. I'm not understanding, Tony, please. But we have a case in Cameron County where the district attorney's office did something about it. Why are we talking about this, ladies and gentlemen? Why are we bringing this up? Well, because we, the people, we need to take action to clear up the streets and bring attention to politicians that are doing these things. Oh, that property in question? That goes back to when Dan Sanchez was the commissioner for that area. And some people were trying to pin it on him, but then it ultimately went back to Sepulveda. I don't know the details, to be honest. If you would like to elaborate, let me know. I don't know the details. All I remember is that Dan Sanchez was a commissioner. People filed a complaint because they thought it was Dan Sanchez, when in fact it wasn't Dan Sanchez who authorized that. It was Pete Sepulveda. His signature was all over that. So they ended up charging. They wanted to charge Dan Sanchez, but they ended up charging Pete Sepulveda for that. So we have precedents, ladies and gentlemen. We have a similar case. But again, just for clarification purposes, this case was dismissed. Pete Sepulveda completed his requirements of the probation program, of the pretrial diversion program. His case was dismissed, but he admitted guilt. He said, yes, I did do this. I did use county resources. I did use county property for this. So it's there. We have a very similar case to what happened with Linda Macias and Pedrito Cardenas. We have a very similar case. Does it matter? Should we care? And again, Tony, why are we saying this, Tony? Because if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. These politicians talk about transparency. What arrangements were made? We don't know what agreement was made. Are the taxpayers footing the bill because the owners didn't do nothing about it? Tony makes a great point. I'm sure they don't pave a road for any Joe Blow. Did the owner have connections? Did Pedrito Cardenas take it upon himself because he said, whoa, this is my precinct and I haven't done nothing about it? Again, we should demand for the arrangements, the details that was made between the city of Brownsville and those owners. Why? Because it sets a bad precedence. Because then we're telling all of business owners, if you have a business on private property that needs to get done, we'll send out city resources. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Why? Because you are a taxpayer. Do you want your money going to fixing people with serious cash? Big bucks. You would think, hey, they should do it themselves. Shouldn't they? So now the question is our district attorney going to do something about it? Again, his office was the one that arrested Pete Sepulveda, the interim county judge. We're not talking about a regular Joe Blow. We're talking about the county judge at the time. He arrested him for something very similar. Now, let's say that, you know what? You got it all wrong, Frankie. Again, hey, I'm a rational person. If I get something wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. I don't have an ego. I don't have oh no, I'm right and y'all are wrong. No, I state my case, you state your case. And if I feel that your case has merit, hey, more power to you. I'll come out and say, you know what? I got it wrong. I'm human. But we don't know the details. All we know is that Pedrito Cardenas said we got into an arrangement with the business owner. What arrangement was that? What are the details? Who's going to pick up the bill? Is this going to be a common occurrence where we're going to send out city resources, city manpower to fix any private property? Shouldn't be that way. Or should it? I'm going to ask a legitimate question to my community. Are you okay with this being done? Is this a nothing burger to you? Oh, it got done. Yes, but it had to be done the right way. That's what I want to get at. I'm not hating on Pedrito and Linda. I'm not hating on them. But we have procedures. We have proper protocol. We have guidelines that need to be met. We can't just go to any business and say, I'm going to fix your road. I'm going to use county resources, county money, taxpayer money, because I want a photo op. Shouldn't be that way. Shouldn't be that way. Now, again, someone brought up a very interesting point because, again, I always get a lot of hate. Oh, you're a hater. You're a nobody. You know, people say, "Oh, do you delete comments?" I'm like, "No, I don't delete comments. I don't block people. People posted my mugshot. It's there." There's a guy defending Roca and Sam who consumes illicit drugs. They said something very nasty about my relative, my uncle that passed away, my deceased uncle. I didn't delete that. I'm very transparent. I try to be transparent as possible. People are saying, "Oh, you're just an idiot. You're just a loser. Find something important to do." I am doing something very important if you haven't noticed already. You better appreciate what I do, Brownsville. But somebody made a very interesting point. What agreement was made between the city of Brownsville and those business owners that had a street that needed to be paved for a long time and nothing was done about it until the city got involved? These are very valid arguments, very valid points. At what rate would the property owners be billed at? $5 an hour, minimum wage $7.50, $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour? At what rate? And what do we consider it fair? Also, where will the repayment of these services from property owners go to? To what account? Mr. Gonzalez is making very valid arguments and very valid points. And the most important one, which I think they had no clue or didn't even think about this, Mr. Alejandro Gonzalez asked the question, will a report be provided at the upcoming city commissioners meeting regarding this issue? I'm sure now that they're seeing Good Morning Brownsville, they're going to be like, "Oh, we got to put it on the agenda." Isn't this valid arguments that this resident of Brownsville, this taxpayer is making? Let's say that there was an arrangement between the city of Brownsville and the property owner. What was that arrangement? What was that agreement? Because if you do it for one, you have to do it across the board. Yes or no? It's only fair. So business owners, if they see that, oh, these guys are charging minimum wage for their services, pues lo voy a contratar a ellos. Why do I need to hire a private company? You see where we're going at, ladies and gentlemen? We're setting a very bad precedence in regards to this issue. You may want to hate on Frankie. You may want to talk crap about Frankie. But these are valid arguments that I'm not bringing up. The community, the taxpayer, they're outraged. They're saying, "What do you mean that the city of Brownsville is dealing with these issues on private property?" These are very valid arguments that Mr. Gonzalez is making. At what rate would the property owners be billed? Where will these repayment of these services go to? What account? Because money was used. Resources were used. And also, will we be given a report in regards to this, in regards to all this, for being fiscally responsible, for transparency purposes, that this is the arrangement that was made with private property owners, and this is the arrangement that's going to be made from here on out? Because that's what we want. We want consistency. We want transparency. We don't want people just to be like, well, I fixed your street. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. These commissioners, they're not spending their money. If there was their money, hey, more power to them. They should do all that and more. Keep on doing it. But it's not their money. It's your money, taxpayer. It's your money. How do you feel about this? And again, I can't save everybody. I can't. Somebody makes fun of me because they're like, what are you doing? Why do you keep on going on every day at 9 a.m.? You're not doing anything productive. I guess I am. I'm bringing attention to very important issues that the community of Brownsville deserves to know. I'm doing my part. And again, we're very thankful that we get watched by the thousands. And look, I'm very thankful, Brownsville. I'm very humbled by that. It doesn't matter whether I'm being viewed or watched by one or two people or the thousands that we've been seeing over these past few months. We're going to give our best effort, no matter if there's one person watching us or thousands of people watching us, because I want you to know the truth. I want you to know what's going on. I want you to ask these important questions because you have skin in the game. You are a taxpayer. You deserve to know. Now, again, a complaint was filed back in 2016 against our Cameron County judge who paved a road on private property. He used county employees, county money, county equipment to make this happen between San Benito and Harlingen. Isn't that very similar to what we saw with Linda Macias and Pedrito Cardenas? Isn't it? So I posed a question to you, Brownsville. Should charges be filed against commissioners Linda Macias and Pedrito Cardenas for paving a street on private property using city resources? I gave you an example of something very similar. Very similar. Now, if they say, "Oh well, the city, the owner is going to fit the bill," at what rate? Who decides that? And when you get that money, where are you going to put it? What account? Where does this go? Are the commissioners going to provide a report to let the citizens of Brownsville know, to let the city commission know of this, of what happened? Interesting, huh? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we do it for one business owner, we're opening up the floodgates to all business owners. And I don't think we want to go there, city of Brownsville, because we're never going to get done. But thanks to Linda Macias and Pedrito Cardenas, that is a precedent that has been set moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, what I do is not easy. I try my best every day when I prepare for you to give you bangers, to give you information that makes you think, this guy sounds crazy, but is he really crazy? I try to bring valid arguments before, and I bring receipts to you. My job isn't to convince you, ladies and gentlemen. My job is to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, the black and the white. What you decide to do with that information, that is out of my hands. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Best believe Good Morning Brownsville will come on before you Monday through Friday, rain or shine, at 9 a.m. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We could be found under Frankie Olivo TV. I will never ask you for money, Brownsville. I will never ask you for food. Well, that depends what you're making. All I ask of my community is a simple subscription of YouTube. That will help me a long, long way. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your attention. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace!